Hello Ian, I'm Blunty, and today I will be communicating purely by the mighty mind-melting might of telepathy, just for something different. And because of the fact that my neighbourhood is unusually noisy today, and the only way I could get a clean audio feed to do this review was to hide under my bed and pre-record this entire dialogue and then just lay it over the video track. Sorry about that, just try and enjoy it. So today it's time to look at a couple of devices dutifully double-teaming your senses in an effort to create that most wonderful of experiences, the home theatre. Starting with the Samsung Series 7 display I'm looking at today. Well, it's a very impressive unit, and it's easily the best TV I have ever had in my home. So good, in fact, that I'm sure I'll shed a tear when I have to send the review unit back. The image is nothing short of beautifully crisp and wonderfully smooth. The colours are vibrant, the blacks are very black, and that last bit is one of the most important things you can look for in a TV, by the way. I know it sounds odd, but basically, the blacker the blacks are on the screen, the better everything else is going to look. Unfortunately, I'll never really be able to show you via my camera and YouTube how good this actually looks to those magical little squishy balls of goo that are normal human eyes, so you'll just have to take my word for it or head into a store and drool on your own shoes. The viewing angle is very wide, so if you've got a big group of people around for a movie night, late arrivals in the less prime viewing positions on the floor, off to the side, annoying your cat by sitting on their favourite cat pillow, aren't going to get that weird colour-shifting wackiness that you so often see on less good displays. So the TV does its job of throwing very beautiful pictures at you, which is lovely, that's what it's supposed to do, but useless if you don't have a way to get your content onto the screen. So let's have a look at the input options around the back. Most important these days is an adequate supply of HDMI ports for all our gadgets that spit out that lovely high-def contact, media players, Blu-ray drives, gaming consoles and all that jazz. So the Samsung gives us 4 HDMI ports, which should be just about right for most people. Down here there's also a component input which, while it isn't a digital signal like HDMI, will still pull in high-def signals if you've run out of HDMI ports, or have a device too old to have an HDMI port on it. And of course there's a standard AV input too. Though, to use the last two, you need to use these little breakout cable adapter dongle thingies, which is annoying because they don't really feel that secure when you plug them in, and they come loose a bit too easily, I found. And if you manage to lose or break one of them, you're stuffed until you can get Samsung service to send you out some new ones, because these are not a standard off-the-shelf component you can rush out and pick up from a store at a moment's notice. There's also a VGA connector and audio input if you want to hook up a computer. And now here's where it gets interesting. A USB connector for hooking up a thumb drive or a portable hard disk. And the Samsung can actually play media right off these storage devices. No extra little bits and pieces needed, no separate media players, just plug them in, play your content. It's pretty sweet. There's also an Ethernet port for hooking into your home network so you can stream media directly from your computers and get some online content as well. There's a second USB port that can be used with an optional Wi-Fi adapter to get you that same networking functionality minus the wires. Here's your optical out for feeding your audio out into an amp. Now this is important, vital even, because as with almost all TVs these days, it seems like the manufacturers just assume you're going to be hooking it up to a home theatre amp, so they don't spend any time at all making sure that the built-in speakers are even somewhere close to listenable. And it's the same here. The noise that the speakers in this machine vomit forth in a screech of misery is thin sounding, and it has a habit of distorting at even moderate volumes, and even making parts of the casing vibrate and buzz. It's a pretty miserable experience if you're trying to really listen to anything just off the built-in speakers. Now to be fair, if you're buying a TV this large, it is most likely that you're going to be hooking up to a proper sound system anyway, but I feel manufacturers shouldn't just assume that and feel it's okay to release these displays with what really are truly awful built-in speakers. Now I mentioned this was a review of a home theatre system, and the second vital component to this beastie, the Samsung HDBD1255W. This is everything else you could need. It's an extremely capable Blu-ray and DVD player, of course. I really won't go into that part because it works like any other good Blu-ray player does, including 1080p 24 FPS, which basically means when you're watching a Hollywood movie on an appropriately encoded Blu-ray disc, it'll show it to you at 24 frames per second, exactly like it's shown to you in a cinema. It's also a complete digital surround sound system, and it sounds terrific, very clear. The subwoofer throws out enough deep rumbling bass to easily annoy the crap out of my neighbours. In the interest of time, I won't drill down into the deeply nerdy bits of the fancy technology here. All you really need to know is that it plays your discs and it sounds terrific, and it was the easiest surround sound system I've ever set up. So let's look at a few of my favourite things here. First up is that it comes with its own iPod dock, so you can easily slam your iPod into here, slam your iPhone into here, pump your music through it, and again, This is intuitive and easy, and you have complete access to your songs, playlists, albums, artists, etc. from the unit's own remote and on-screen menus. It does feel a little bit sluggish, but chances are once you get a playlist going, you're not going to be fiddling with it much anyway, so that can be tolerated. Secondly, and I cannot express this deeply enough, how much I love this part. The rear speakers for this unit are wireless. Running speaker wires from the amp to the back of the room where the speakers have to be for proper surround sound has always been the bane of my home theatre experience. It's untidy, it's clumsy, it's annoying, you have to have long runs of wires to get to the back of the room, and it's a complete pain in the ass. Samsung have completely solved that issue for me by using a wireless system that sends the audio from this little adapter in the back of the unit to a receiver unit and amplifier which feeds the speakers, and it works utterly flawlessly. Plug it in, forget about it. Just like the TV, you can hook this up to your home network using either a cable or Go Wi-Fi with an optional adapter. You've also got a couple of optical audio inputs, so you can pull the sound from whatever is being played on the TV, whether it's coming from the tuner or another source plugged into it, like a game console. Oh, and by the way, this particular combo of surround sound system and TV makes gaming just that extra bit spectacular and immersive. It's an utter joy, seriously. Now, speaking of these two units working as a team, there's a wonderful, wonderful thing that happens when you have these two units hooked up together. Because they're both from Samsung, the TV and the home theatre unit actually talk to each other over the HDMI cable. And no, I'm not being weird here, they really do communicate back and forth. The player can automatically adjust the display settings on the TV to give you optimum picture quality depending on what kind of media you've got playing and how it's encoded and what its native format is. The player knows what it's sending out and can tell the TV exactly how best to display that particular content. It's freaking wonderful. Everything about this team up really does make setting up and using a home theatre as easy and as pain-free as possible, so the end user can just get on with the job of being entertained rather than fiddling around digging through menus and obscure settings trying to get it all set up and tweaked just right. Though to be honest, that kind of tweaking is something I rather enjoy doing because I'm a massive nerd. But it's nice to see the machines do it for me, and do so in a sensible way. Oh, and one last thing to mention about the double team action going on here. Again, because they're both from the same manufacturer, the remote for the home theatre unit will also happily take complete control of your TV. So that's one remote, two devices, one less remote to clutter up the place. The take-home message here is that both these devices make me happy. Very happy. I've had many combinations of home theatre equipment over the years, and this combo of the Series 7 LED backlit LCD display and Blu-ray surround sound unit with a model number that is impossible to remember off the top of my head has been unquestionably the most pleasant experience I've had with this kind of gear, both from the perspective of how easy and elegant the setup is and how good the experience of viewing the media is. So if you're in the market to buy or upgrade your own home theatre equipment, I can happily and eagerly and without a skip in my heart recommend that you put these two on your list, because the team up is wonderful. Catch you next time.